Regular viewers know that I'm a big fan of the cybersecurity stocks, but what do we do when one of these names keeps getting pummeled, even though it keeps reporting fantastic numbers? Consider the case of Forescout Technologies. It's a software company that uses what they call an agentless approach to network security. Basically, they help their clients monitor all of the devices connected to their networks, something that's increasingly essential thanks to the rise of the Internet of Things. Historically, you need to install a different program on each device, but Forescout does things differently. They monitor the whole network to prevent breaches. It's a smart approach, but we know because the company keeps shooting the lights out. Last week, Forescout delivered a nice top and bottom line beat. Even better, management gave higher than expected guidance for the next quarter and also raised the full-year forecast, what we look for on the show. But while the stock rallied a bit last Friday in response, it actually got hit today. And as part of a broader downtrend that's caused the stock to lose about 10% of its value since I recommended it a month ago. Why? I think the issue here is that Forescout came public at the end of October, which means that the lockup on insider selling recently expired. This is the kind of thing that can really hurt a stock, even if the fundamentals remain strong. It doesn't have anything to do with the company itself. That said, I very much like the story, and if this thing keeps getting slammed, you might want to really buy something to wheat this. Don't take it from me. Let's check in with Michael DeCesare, the president and CEO of Forescout Technologies, to learn more about the quarter and where his company's headed. Mr. DeCesare, welcome to Mad Money.
Thank you very much.
All right, Michael, let me just immediately say, I like the stock, recommended it. And a little freaked out, like many other people, that you did plus 40%, okay, which is really extraordinary. There's a huge plethora of Internet of Things that have to be protected. Just tell us what you do so that when people buy the stock, which I think they should, as you know, because I recommend higher, they understand the long runway that you have.
There's been a fundamental shift in the IT landscape since about 10 years ago when IT departments would be able to fundamentally control everything that was joining their network. You would buy servers and you would put products on those and put them in your data center. You would buy Windows machines and you'd load them with all kinds of software and then put them onto your network. And what started with BYOD and has kind of worked its way over into IoT has been this growth of devices that don't subscribe to that traditional architecture. If you're a hospital, beds are online now. If you're an airline, it's the gates and the planes. And all of these new use cases, in many cases, are closed operating systems that you can't load software on top of, and Forescout fills that void.
Okay, so look, I know everybody has an iPhone, but I don't know any systems that are Apple. There are all these other systems, but I want to use my device, and I know that the IT people say no. Could they say yes if they had Forescout?
So if you have Forescout installed, if a company has Forescout installed in their environment, what they get is the ability to allow everything into the network and let us agentlessly decide if those devices are compliant and keep an eye on them to make sure they're doing the right things when they're online. So if we're installed, then we give customers much more flexibility on deploying devices.
Okay, so let's say I work at Citi, which is a marquee client, and we like Mike Corbat very much, and we think that the company's incredibly well run. They've got to have hundreds of thousands of devices. How can you monitor them all?
So they've got over 1 million devices under management with us today. They're one of our premier customers, and they use us across kind of the traditional campus environment, things like Windows and Unix and Linux, and all of those other use cases like security cameras and HVAC controllers and all of that. We keep it organized, as well as the data center itself,
you're talking about like thermostats, smart buildings you keep control under.
Correct.
So they can't be hacked.
Well, so these devices, the difference is, then you take your home as an example, right? Is you buy a Nest thermostat and you put it on the network, you hit pair, and it's online.
Right.
But it's not an open device. The hardware, the software, and the operating system is all one thing. You can't install antivirus or some product on that.
Right.
And that is representative in a corporate environment of things like HVAC controllers and security cameras and all of these other use cases. And what we do is we give the organization the ability to allow all of that online. We watch it. We know it's a security camera. We know what it's allowed to speak to. And if it does something it's not supposed to do, we give that organization the ability to pull that device offline so it can't be more harmful. In
your documents, I saw that in your Q&A, WannaCry was something that let virus, that was a virus that got in through Windows. And you've got to monitor that kind of thing, too.
All of it. So if you take something like WannaCry, people didn't think that they had an older version. It leveraged an older version of the Windows operating system called XP. Most organizations would have told you they'd had a policy of no XP for many, many years. And then we woke up one day and realized there was still XP in environments. And if you move over to the Mirai botnet, right, we never thought twice about our security cameras being online until we woke up one day and hundreds of thousands of them were doing something more problematic. And it's a very difficult thing for IT departments to keep up on because the diversity of devices that is exploding in such a way, it's a big challenge going down right now.
Another thing people should recognize is you have partners. I mean, Palo Alto Networks is one of our favorites. Splunk is one of our favorites. How do you work with them? Do they call you in? You bring them in?
So we've built partnerships with all of them. The way that our base product works is we plug into the network infrastructure, the Cisco gear, the firewalls. We take all the data off those machines and we turn that into a real-time dashboard that answers a question that every company in the world is dealing with in 2018, which is what's on my network. We then share that information with the firewall vendors like Palo Alto, the SIM vendors like Splunk, the endpoint vendors. We have about 20 of those, and they're proving to be quite useful.
All right, so last question, give me a disaster scenario. Like, what is the thing we should be most scared of?
I think the thing that we should be most scared of as a nation is the fact that in addition to our campus environments, and it's inconvenient if a thermostat or if a work laptop does something concerning, but now we're seeing attacks that are targeting more of our critical infrastructure. And as we look out there, a lot of these machines that have been in place were 20 plus years old before there was even APIs on machines, yet they're now on those same company networks, but the severity, if those devices is compromised, is much more significant than it would be in other use cases. And organizations need to understand what's on those extended networks so that they can make sure those devices are behaving the way they should.
Well, I can tell from your growth that they're not aware enough because plus 40% growth is very hard to find. This is Michael DeCesare. He's the president and CEO of Forescout Technologies. These stocks, a lot of them are cloud kings. They're all heavy today. Could be heavy tomorrow. But you know what? That's when you buy them, not when you sell them. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.